Hello, friends. Welcome to the Dirty Politics Show with your host, the Right Honorable Gentleman, name of Aladdin and Pirate. A lot is happening in this crazy world, and they're going to help y'all make heads from tales of it all. Now on to the show. We hope you do enjoy.
Oh, Canada. Big blue wave for us, chat. How's everybody doing? We had a nice little election here. Our prime minister or newly elected.
Is that what you call it?
It is what we call an election. A fair election. An election.
Yeah, I meant nice.
He just had his first meeting with Trump yesterday, right? That was a quality meeting. But we do have our share. I think they learned from good old Meg, or maybe even some of the leftists in America, about denying elections, saying it was rigged, fraud. We have a lot of those, more than I've ever seen in my lifetime. Yeah, we have a lot of angry people out here, a lot of angry conservatives who want to say, "Oh, the vote was rigged." The one was they were using pencils instead of pens. They were because some people were just voting with pencils, and apparently I'm not too sure about this, but some.
Well, voting with pencils is kind of sketchy.
I mean, sure. It is. You can definitely say it is. You can always erase it, I guess, right? But some posters were just giving pencils. But yeah, so there's that. I think, and the crazy thing is, Pierre, so that's the conservative leader for everyone in the chat, he lost his own seat. Not only did he lose the election, he lost his own seat. But there was like 80 candidates or something in that riding. Like, it was one of those things where they put everyone on the ballot, which is a little. That's a little ridiculous. But to lose your seat is crazy. To lose your seat,
he'd had that seat for like 20 years, right?
Exactly, yeah. But then the thing happened was that basically his designated area was changed this go around, and apparently they added a liberal neighborhood. Gerrymandering type of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Even though, for the record, gerrymandering, when it's effective, is when you lose the popular vote but you gain more seats within the area. That's when a gerrymander is effective, right? When let's say you get. In a certain region, you get 100,000 votes versus 60, but the party with the 60,000 votes somehow wins more seats in their house within the state, or whatever the case may be for that section. That's a gerrymandered situation.
Well, I'd consider gerrymandering just any manipulation for increasing
political.
Sure.
I mean, for sure that too. So you could say, what do they claim? A liberal stronghold was added to the place. But again, he was, when the new outlines were made for the district, he was advised on it. Like, that's a rule. You have to be advised of people who are currently in that seat. He was advised on it, was okay with it, even though the people that do it are supposed to be impartial, and not with no evidence right now, they are completely impartial. Read the lines based on population, things of that nature.
Yeah.
He lost the election fair and square. That's what I always like to say. And to me, it was a bit embarrassing. I always say, losing a 20-point lead.
Although they did actually, they picked up seats, right?
Yeah, they did pick up seats.
It's your
NDP who collapsed.
Your new commie party is the one that really.
I mean, hey, what's funny? You take away the NDP name and you put out the ideas that they put out. A lot of people agree with them, and a lot of people say, "Oh, that's a good idea." But there was a stigma attached to them because people hated their leader, Jagmeet Singh. Multiple reasons for it. One, a lot of people didn't like him because they felt like he did prop up the Justin Trudeau government for the Liberals. Like, they needed his votes to keep them in power for as long as they did. So they hated him for that, and also the anti-Indian sentiment within Canada right now definitely didn't help the picture.
You guys just went and re-voted for the Liberals anyway.
Hey,
so it's like,
how bad of an election, how bad of a campaign you have to run for you to lose when you have an election where the country for the past 10 years, economy's down, immigration issues. You have to be pretty bad. And one of the problems is he did a lot of conservative pushed a little more to the right than Canadians would like, right? Because we always say Canadian conservatives, for the most part, aren't, the mega crowd. Even though this election, that that voice definitely came out, and they're still here. Now they want Alberta to separate.
That's but I mean, what's to the right for Canadians? I mean, what I didn't really see him say anything that was like
that
was extreme in the least.
You know what it is? To me, Pierre actually did a fair job later on separating himself or trying to separate himself from the whole Trump mega thing. I think one was a lot of his supporters who were big Trump fans who wanted him to, but then when the whole Trump 51st state thing came, he was kind of like, no, we're not. We're Canada's a sovereign nation. Carney came out and said Canada's a sovereign nation, but a lot of Pierre supporters were like, no, we want to be a part of the 51st state, or we don't mind that. So that kind of created a bit of a conflict.
Yeah, I think your buddy said it best on the last show, where it was basically just the conservatives had the two factions of you got your, Canada first, like mimicking the MAGA America first crowd, but then within the conservatives, it seems like there's also a lot of sympathy for America and MAGA and Trump and everything. We're on the liberals. It's just 100%. Death to Trump. So it seemed like that was able to consolidate.
They did capitalize. Liberals did capitalize on the Trump hate or fear with the tariff discussion.
Do you see the same thing happened down in Australia?
I saw that. Yeah, they voted. Big blue wave or liberal for them too. A lot of countries. I mean, I think what was the other country too? It was Australia, Canada. There's one more country that went blue. That was surprising. Was it Germany? Was it Germany recently?
Well, Germany's got their thing. I just saw their they branded the most far right party like a terrorist organization or something. So they're actually trying to I guess completely outlaw get that what is that party in Germany? But it's a big party. It's not like a fringe party at all. I think it's the
party with some wheels.
Second most popular party in the country.
That's interesting. We'd have to look that one up. I do think Trump has had a huge effect on how conservatives are viewed from the world. Like his kind of his the persona, the brashness, and some of his ideas, which again I don't, even as someone who's on the left, don't think are that crazy. And I think people definitely sensationalize some of the things he says. I think he likes to play around with the media, and I think people again like to take what he says way too serious, when I think he just likes to joke around. Now, whether you think that's presidential or not,
we're opening up Alcatraz, everybody.
Yeah, so
bringing back the Rock.
100%. It's just a lot of the things, obviously, like you said, with the whole immigration situation thing going on. With, you could say some people, whether they've wrongly been deported or whatnot, you could take one or two wrong deportations out of, let's say, 50,000, but you could spin that into he hates all immigrants, racism. You know what I mean? You can definitely spin that into that, which again is just gonna get a fragment of the population really against conservatives.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's definitely some America first, like screw everybody else.
That's definitely I can respect it. He's standing on business. He's standing on what he said. I can definitely respect that.
So I could see how it would rub some countries the wrong way. So were you able to check out that the Carney meeting Trump?
I thought it was professional. I thought Carney looked like the adult in the room. I thought he handled it well. I think Trump has a way he likes to handle these things. Trump obviously will want to talk the most out of him.
I think I saw it was 30 minutes long, and Trump talked for 27 minutes, and Carney talked for 3 minutes.
Something along those lines. I thought Carney handled it great. Again, I don't think.
Well, that's your opinion. Have you heard?
Yeah. So people on the right. Yeah. People. So this is how people. This is how it's being viewed. I was just having a discussion in another political group chat over here in Canada. People on the right thought, Carney looked weak. Carney was pushed over. It was useless. People on the left will say Carney looked presidential. He looked like the adult in the room. He knows how to handle Trump. Knows how to work with Trump. And for me, it's like, what do people want? Like, one, they're not going to talk the intricacies of policy out with the media. I think what they discuss privately with some of their advisors out there in terms of trade discussions, whether you want to increase military budgets, things of that nature. A lot of it, I don't think is going to be talked in front of a camera. It's just going to happen behind closed doors. So I don't know what people really wanted to happen at this meeting. This was kind of just
I mean, to me, it kind of came off like Trump was sitting there like talking a lot of shit right to his face, and
I think Carney, again, an adult in the room, just understands Trump's playbook. Like, what do you?
But
do you
then
want
he was also very complimentary of him. I felt
you got to stroke the ego because you know how Trump operates. Think about it. If Carney went in there just like screw America, screw your America first, like what do people want? People want an actual combative back and forth where they're yelling at each other. You know what I mean? Like that makes for good cinema, but it's not good, political policy between two neighboring countries.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. To me, he did come off looking kind of weak. Let's check out a couple of clips.
Mm.
I thought maybe we would like watch a bulk of it, but then again, it's like Trump talked for 97% of it, so it's not. We don't really need to watch the whole thing. A lot of it kind of.
He did rebuke Trump when he said Canada's not for sale, and he made a joke out of some things, like real estate aren't for sale.
Here's one clip. It says, well, this guy says, this is the very moment Mark Carney realized he lost everything. Just look at his body language after hearing Trump's firm response.
Tariffing Canada, is there anything he could say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that could get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No.
Why not?
Just the way it is.
See, that's very on brand for Trump. I also think Carney realizes that Trump is there for 3.5 more years, where the case is. The relationship of Canada and America is bigger than any individual, right? So again, I just don't see like what would people want him to reply with that out in front of the media? Laugh or crack a joke to me would be the best thing to do. I don't think you're going to have any serious policy discussions about possibly changing that in front of the camera, especially with how we know how Trump operates in front of the camera. Right. Yeah. So to me, looked like the adult. He understood, to me, the body language, the smirking, the roll of the eyes sometimes that he did. He understands there's a time and place to discuss certain issues, and sometimes in front of the camera just isn't that.
Here's a little compilation of
this is by Jasmine Lane, a right wing.
Well, I don't know who she is.
Yeah, she's like a very alt right wing political commentator.
Alt right. I'm sure she's probably center right.
Yeah, no, she's very
like an upstanding Canadian patriot. She's got a blue check mark. So
she's definitely not a patriot. I'll tell you that. But how do you this is another thing, Pirate. And I think America falls in this too. When did we stop rooting for each other? Because there was a time when, regardless of who was elected, you still hope and pray that he does well. You when they visit another foreign country, you want them to
rooting for each other is like the parties within the country.
I mean, just once the leader, like even remember the early the first, I want to say the first year with the Obama presidency, even the first Bush years, right?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say right around Bush is.
No, I think people wanted.
I want to say the Bush administration is when it really became like the team sport bloodbath, like to the extent it is.
I don't. You think it was the Bush administration that happened? Because I thought Bush administration it was.
No, because the war was really divisive. I mean, it was really divisive with even me.
I mean, that became after though, right? First, when he declared the war, I thought it was unity. Like everyone's like, "Go get these guys!" After what they did.
Well, I mean, 9/11 happened real quick on his watch. If you remember, he got elected in 2000, and 9/11 was like less than a year later.
Yeah.
So as soon as 9/11, once 9/11 happened, like the moment after it happened, there was more unity than probably ever. I think he had like a 75% approval, and everyone really banded together.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Once it devolved into like, oh, we're going into Iraq, going into Iraq was really the big thing. But I'd say that there was definitely because like with Clinton, I think there was a ton of unity. Like
to me, the night Obama was elected might have been one of the most unified things, because even people like I remember like Hannity coming out saying, be like, I hope and pray this man does well. It's a great moment for the country. I really hope. there were still like people even on the most,
but it wasn't long lasting. It's not like it lasted.
It wasn't long lasting. It was a few months. I think people still,
yeah,
were rooting for him, but after that, it became incredible.
For the entirety of Obama's term, I would still say that was a pretty divisive.
Oh yeah, after to me, after that first midterm is when it became really divisive.
Yeah, whereas with Clinton, I think what really made that administration work was, you had Clinton as the president, who was he was definitely willing to compromise, and the Senate and the House was Republican, and that was the Newt Gingrich contract with America years, and they were actually the ones who were able to put together a budget that was balanced, our last balanced budget that we've had. It was 30 years ago, and everything was pretty smooth except for the whole Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, that was a big one.
If the Monica Lewinsky stuff hadn't happened, I think Clinton's presidency probably would have been remembered pretty good from most corners, But yeah, I think Bush is when it really became like the red versus blue. Well, that's literally when it became the red versus blue. Before that, it wasn't even. It wasn't even like the red versus blue. Like I think when Reagan was winning, like the newscasters had Reagan with blue.
Oh wow! Okay,
and the Democrats with red. But ever since Bush, it's been red, Republican, blue.
I didn't even know that it was a switcheroo thing before. But yeah, back to Canada, it's like people are rooting against Carney. It's the weirdest thing. Like he goes overseas, like it's like this. There's this deep-seated hatred towards this guy who, and the guy really hasn't done anything, whether you want to praise him or not, done anything to warrant love or hate, really.
Well, you're telling me about it, man. Like I watch mainly the channel that I've been watching the most the last month or two is the Bulwark. You ever watch the Bulwark?
I might have seen a couple of clips, but
it's a like pure Democrat, pure left channel, but they put out a ton of content.
Okay.
But man, I swear, like every one of their videos I watch, it's like, man, you guys are just like you're rooting for you're rooting for Canada, you're rooting for America just to go down.
There's a lot of hatred there.
Every day they wake up and it's whatever you can find to like say that it's a fascist country and Trump is Hitler and this is the worst. The worst of times, and our country is just irrevocably doomed. I don't know, man. That's what sells tickets these days. Yeah,
it's 100%. That's what it seems like it sells tickets these days. That's great. Well, quick side note: the Knicks just won. They were down like 20 something.
The Knicks just won.
Yeah, they were down like 20 something against the Celtics. The Celtics
Knicks are up 2-0. Indies up 2-0.
This is crazy.
So the home team has not won a game yet.
But this is actually wild. And like the Celtics just stopped scoring. This is crazy. Watch how many points this quick.
And then this is what
17 points in the fourth. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of thought Boston and Cleveland would cruise.
And I got hooked by two players. Jaylen Brown, I needed 22 points. He finished with 20. And then I needed 11 from Drew Holiday. He finished with 10. And they had that at like middle of the third quarter. They had that. They didn't score the entire fourth quarter.
So what is it? OKC's playing now?
Yeah, that game's about to start.
I think OKC's going to break the streak. They'll be the home team. They'll be the home team that wins.
I would imagine that.
That's crazy though. 6 straight wins by the away team. That's insane.
That is wild.
Well, you want to call her alt-right. I doubt that. Just from a picture, she looks pretty middle of the road to me. Well, let's see what clip she's compiled on your boy Carney here.
Can change Donald Trump. I don't think so. Not at this stage.
Get you to lift tariffs on Canada.
No,
Why not?
just the way it is.
And a person who draws his inspiration from President Trump, like Pierre Poilievre, will kneel down before him.
You're a transformational president, focus on the economy with a relentless focus on the American worker, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and securing the world.
Before he stands up to him. He's in sync with President Trump.
I thought you were excellent, and I think we have a lot of things in common.
Pierre Poilievre is also choosing to be willfully blind to the many and growing threats that face our country.
We don't really want cars from Canada. And we put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things.
What the big companies are producing, by and large, are not products that we are consuming. There's some element of that, but by and large, a steel company, how much steel are you using these days, Todd? I mean, not as much we used. So
Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said, that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said, that's a strange answer, but I understand his answer. But no, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year. We protect Canada militarily, and we always will. We're not going to, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair.
I don't.
I mean, like, what do you want the guy to say? Like, I just want to know, what do people want cars?
I don't know. It's just the body language. He seems like a very meek guy.
To me, it just seems like, all right, I can't. I mean, this guy's just rambling. We gotta. It just looked annoyed, like he was talking to a child. It looked. That's why I think he's just annoyed by it.
It would be tough dealing with.
Yeah, it's just like, what do you want to do in public? Right? So we're like, oh well, no, you're all wrong, and they get into a shouting match, and then it becomes embarrassing, right?
Zelensky went in there. Zelensky.
Yeah, how did that turn out?
Zelensky, yeah, it didn't turn out.
Yeah, right. So it's just there's a way to handle things. And
man, Trump sure is a trip, man.
He definitely is. But those tariffs. I mean, all that talk sounds good, but we talked to the people. There's a lot of big Trump fans who aren't happy with him.
Yeah, because they're fucking idiots, dude. Like,
you said a lot of big names aren't happy with Trump.
Yeah, it's stupid. Everyone's like judging everything. Well, it's just because it's the 24-hour news cycle, It's so hard to judge like major economic moves when you're in a 24-hour period.
You know what it is? When the stock portfolio takes a big hit, that's when they're like,
but the stock market hasn't taken a big hit. Like it honestly hasn't. It bounced back, and all the gains that were lost were really the quick little spike that came once Trump was elected. Once Trump was elected, it fucking bumped up, and then it bumped down. But that's the biggest lie that's going around. I mean, all the left media is running around saying like all the grandmas have just had their portfolios cleaned out, and it's ridiculous, The stock market's pretty much even over the last 6 months.
Yeah, it hasn't been some big tumble. I do think from what I've seen, a lot of small business owners, because of some of the things that they're importing from other countries, with the tariffs hitting, has been a little problematic.
Well, dude, but I mean, that's what we're saying. Like, was there any way to like seriously adjust the dynamics of world trade without there being some kind of interruptions,
And I hear you. Look, to make huge fundamental change like Trump was talking about, people are going to have to sacrifice or pay the cost for a little bit. But that little bit,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, but when I say a little bit, it's not a couple months. It could be like years for it to fully.
Yeah, it could be years, but it's still going to be a little bit. It's not like we're going to get plunged into being like Botswana.
Look, the country's not going to collapse, but it's just when
you're going to have to pay a couple dollars more for your T-shirts from Target.
No, I hear you. I hear you, Pirate. It's just when people are living check to check, monthly to month, they have these budgets. It's just hard. And look, I get it. Like, I'm with you, but you understand politically how that plays.
I understand, but I just think it's funny that like it ends up turning So now apparently the left is like just huge fans of consumerism from China. It's
Yeah,
like
that's good
now
too.
all
Yeah.
of a sudden that's like the most important thing to being an American is getting the cheapest possible goods from China.
Hey,
Whatever
support
happened to
small
China
businesses.
being this huge fucking communist
Evil.
state, the evil empire, you know, that we don't want to deal with. I thought
mean,
we
hey,
didn't want to deal with them.
well, that everyone wants to talk that
I
talk,
don't
but
want
like I
to. I
said,
don't want to deal
when
with
they
them.
go to the store and they see those price increases, like, wait, maybe China isn't so bad. That's how people's pocketbooks work. That's how people's minds work. The first thing that gets affected through policies that's going to impact voters, impact American people, is their pocketbook, is the money. And when they see these price increases, they're going to be like, wait, hold up. Whether it's running a business and they see the price increases, whether it's just being a consumer. So again, tariffs, I understand the long-term play and it being a positive thing, but this might be political suicide. But he's not coming for another term, so
He doesn't have another term. That's
Yeah,
the
he does
thing.
not. No,
He might be tanking the Republicans' chances for 2028.
Yeah,
But,
still a
you know,
long way to go. But yeah, the midterms, yeah, for sure. I think.
but
the
I don't
short
even
term,
think that's happening
think
because
it's
I think it's going to turn around. This last GDP report that just came out like a week ago, the Democrats and the left are hopping on that it could. Technically, GDP dropped 0.3%, right? So if GDP drops 2 quarters in a row, you call it a recession. So they're hopping on that it dropped now. If the next one drops, it'll technically be a recession.
I'll say this too.
And they're a recession.
It comes when it comes to GDP reports, stock market reports. I mean, to me, what affects the middle class more is just what they're spending on a day-to-day basis. The stock market collapsing or stock market going up by 30% or going down by 30% doesn't impact poor middle class as much as the finance guys or people.
Well, yeah, like nobody on the left is mentioning that the last 3 months inflation has looked great. Inflation has dropped. The most recent one, it was down to like 2.2 or 2.1. And even in the GDP report that dropped 0.3, a lot of saying mainly the only reason it like technically dropped on paper is because so many companies and industries front loaded with imports because of the tariffs. So they put in like a bunch of orders to get their imports in early. But a lot of the underlying numbers look fantastic. Like I think I saw something like manufacturing investment rose by like over 20% in the quarter. So I think we're on a good path. Here's a funny clip. You were talking about dealing with Trump. Yeah. Do you see this? The mayor of DC.
I thought that was Condoleezza Rice for a second.
Yeah, this is the mayor of DC. She was like visiting the White House when Trump was doing his press conference. Check out how uncomfortable how uncomfortable she looks when listen to what he's saying.
So they came in by the millions illegally into our country. They just flowed in through an open border policy that was insane. And what we've done is we've offered, the numbers, but because we're taking them out by the thousands, we're being obstructed. It's very unfair what's happening because the court system it's very unfair. We have to get them out fast. These are bad people. These are people that are killing, and they've already killed many people in this country. Illegal immigrants that came in illegally through an open border policy, which is insane. We talk about common sense. That's not common sense. And they came in from the Congo, all over Africa, all over Asia, all over South America, parts of Europe. They flowed in and just walked right into our country. We had no idea who they were. 21 million at least. That's probably a low number. You hear lower numbers than that. It's not.
She just wants to tell him to shut up. Like she's just so like
criminals and terrorists.
She wants to hit that guy at that point.
Emptied out jails. Venezuela, their crime is down 72% because they took all the criminals off the street.
He's so hung up on the criminal thing, though. We got to get away from this whole the criminals, the rapists, the murderers thing as the excuse.
Yeah, it's his tagline with the immigration thing. Yeah,
but it's like you start painting yourself into a corner because the fact is, it's like you're gonna have to deport a lot more people than are just rapists and murderers. That's not the. It's like you throw that out there to get people on board. But
Yeah, just keep kind of harping on the
yeah,
the drastic fringe side of it. Doesn't seem to be the best move.
no, it's got to be on the economic impact.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, the left really hates the fucking El Salvadorian president. They call him like a dictator.
I think just because he sided with Trump in that situation, I think that's just more of a political thing.
Yeah, but I mean, first off, he's not a dictator. He won his re-election by like 70% or so. He's below.
Okay.
El Salvador was the murder capital of the world. El Salvador was like the most dangerous country in the world. Their murder rate was ridiculous. It was like, I think it was like 27 out of 1,000 people were killed every year. Like, think about how crazy that is. Like,
that's a lot.
basically,
I mean,
3% of your population is getting murdered every year.
yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I know there's a lot of gang issues over there, drug wars, things of that nature.
It's insane. But I mean, people in El Salvador seem to love him. You know, he came in there and like, that's what I'm.
He's trying to fix them up. Yeah, sometimes you need
So I can't ride with like the super left policies because it's like they'll call a guy like this, a dictator for. Like, okay, what are you? What would you do?
Who called him a dictator though? That's why I know who on the left.
Oh, like all the left talking heads, like all of the
I just haven't
political
seen too much
commentators.
about it,
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of them. They refer to him as a dictator. I'm like, he's not a dictator at all. Like an authoritarian. It's like, is he an authoritarian? Yeah, kind of, but I mean, when you step into the murder capital of the world, like, what are you gonna do?
You gotta rule with the stern fist sometimes.
That's not an easy situation.
You gotta walk some edgy lines if you're in that situation. Yeah, if you're in the murder capital of the world, sometimes you can't really play by the playbook.
Yeah, I don't think like peace and love and
not gonna work there.
Paid family, like I don't think paid family leave was the number one priority in El Salvador when he came into office.
I hear you.
Sometimes you got to deal with the practical stuff. But hey, what about over in? Well, I guess it's not your part of the world. I guess it's your parents' part of the world, right?
They're from Sri Lanka, which is near in India. I mean,
India and Pakistan.
Yeah, India, Pakistan. Yeah, that's obviously that's an issue. It's been brewing for I don't know how long at this point. Decades, decades on decades. So I mean, I guess India responded.
The Sri Lankans. Well, you probably don't have the.
No, they have military, but they have their own issues. I mean, they're.
But like, just in general, people from Sri Lanka, are you like, are you cool with Indians or?
Yeah, you're cool with. No, you're cool with them. Yeah.
Oh, you cool?
You're ally. Yeah, good ally.
Allies
over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
Pakistan.
Tamils. Yeah, I mean, Sri Lanka's not really a war country except for the civil war that happened, within the country. They don't really get involved in outside wars because it's an island by itself, right?
Yeah, right.
It's not, and I mean, so I mean, even if they were to, let's say, help a country to send your soldiers there, it's not that big of a country. It's not like it's not a military superpower by any means. I mean, most of their military aid, I want to say, comes from China when it comes from another country, whether it be technology, things of that nature. So they have their own issue. They have a big debt issue that they have to figure out. So before getting involved in any other issues, they got themselves to figure out. So, but when it comes to India, Pakistan, I mean, always been a very delicate situation. Do I think it's going to start World War III? No. Do I think two sides are going to come to the table after I think there was an attack in India and India responded something along those lines? Innocent lives lost throughout. It's going to be a problem, but I don't think it's going to be a full-on war breaking out from this.
It's crazy that because I mean, India and Pakistan are big countries, right? India's got over 1 billion people. Pakistan's got a huge population too.
Yeah, they're not small countries by any means.
Pakistan's like 500 million people or something in it.
Yep.
And they're both they both got nukes, right? Pakistan's got nukes.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, has nukes. I think India.
I
know Pakistan's got nukes. I feel like if Pakistan's got nukes, India's got it.
India would have it. Pakistan has 250 million people. Yeah, that's just a good chunk of people there.
Oh, I actually thought it was more than that. That's still pretty big, though.
It's still huge. Yeah, bro, Canada has 40 million people. India constructed its first nuclear test in 1974. Yeah,
Canada has 90. Down, we call it Northern Montana.
I mean, just call it. We're just a more intelligent California.
Yeah, I think your brains are frozen up there. You got a false sense of security. It's crazy that Pakistan and India haven't been able to sort out that whole Kashmir thing in like 100 years, though.
Yeah, I haven't taken the time to really look into the Kashmir thing. I never understood why Kashmir is so valuable to those countries. Like, does it have enough natural resources? Does it,
I don't know if it's
or is it like an
probably is
ego
some
thing?
kind of. I've seen pictures where it looks beautiful,
Oh, okay.
like lush, and
Yeah.
I know they have like this latest terrorist thing happened at some kind of tourist resort, right? And
Yeah.
it looked really well. It looked it looked a lot nicer than most of the places in India that I've seen. So it seems like it's a pretty nice piece of land, but it seems like two nations that big would have sorted this thing out. At
You would
some
think,
point.
yeah, at this point, but
Yeah.
I guess they tried to just keep it a neutral land. Is it considered neutral land right now?
I saw a map where it's like you got India proper, you got Pakistan proper, and then Kashmir is like a gray area where it's like South Kashmir. They call it Indian administered Kashmir, and then Northern Kashmir is like Pakistani administered Kashmir, and then even the eastern corner is like Chinese administered Kashmir.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So I think it's still like some warring states feudalist like part of the world where I don't think they're like, ironclad laws. It's just kind of like the countries have influence on parts of it.
Yeah.
But they've gone to war over it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, they've had battles. I mean, yeah, I guess some people would call it wars, but
maybe not full on wars,
yeah,
but like armed conflicts over it multiple times. And
seems like that's something, a diplomatic solution should be able to be reached. I don't think you don't need to what's happening in Gaza doesn't need to happen, sadly. Whatever there doesn't need to happen in Kashmir. So hopefully those two countries could can figure it out. Have you seen the shift in the Israel rhetoric and the Gaza rhetoric, especially amongst the right? The
shift in the rhetoric amongst the right. How so?
Yeah, so the Tucker Carlson of the world, Candace Owens, Matt Walsh, they're very like I said, America first.
Well, I know Carlson and Candace Owens has been anti-Israel for a little
while. Well, I think she's very, and I think Tucker holds his position too, and Matt Walsh overall came out and said it too. Of one, they very much care about America first.
Yeah.
Right? Like other countries' problems aren't our problems, that type of thing.
Yeah.
They don't seem to like the influence that Israel has on America, they feel.
Yeah.
Matt Walsh made an interesting statement, which again really made a lot of people mad, where he says, if a country can't sustain itself without American aid or thing, they shouldn't exist at all. Which threw people off with a bit of a clip. It's crazy. That's a little wild.
He probably meant like things should just play out naturally. However, however they're gonna play out. With that. And I'm more or less in like look at this India-Pakistan thing pops up. I'm like, hey man, I'm American. If India and Pakistan got some things going on,
you wish people well. You hope they figure it out. You don't want anyone dying, of course.
Yeah, I don't really want to back India or Pakistan. I don't really want to back Israel or Palestine.
Yeah,
or Russia or Ukraine.
Yeah,
I don't really want to deal with this stuff.
That's exactly their position. I think even Charlie Kirk came out and said something along the lines of, stop, we have our own issues, we don't need to get involved in these type of issues. Why are we sending so much money, things of that nature? So I do think, again, when the right was very much, you could say,
like the Bush era war, the neocon, the neocon wing of the right seems to definitely be
100%
diminishing, which I personally like, because that's the part of the right that I was like most against. I'm not for intervention. I feel like there's so much evidence of us getting involved in other people's problems. I mean, you could say sometimes it works out for the best, but you could point out a lot of times where it's like it didn't work out for the best, and it was a waste of money and lives. So I think in the end it kind of balances out, and it's to the point where if it's a zero sum game, then I'd rather just not play that game.
I hear you. But yeah, so it's interesting. I think that in my lifetime, this is probably the most, the most open criticism of Israel I've seen from probably both the right and left. Both the right and left. I haven't seen this much criticism towards Israel.
I don't really have. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like critical of Israel. I'm just like not my problem.
Yeah, it's okay, but that's fine too. Yeah.
Like, yeah, especially when I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we're like a superpower, a nation of 350 million people, and one of the top public debates we're gonna have is Israel versus.
Yeah, I think you have plenty of other problems to address.
Palestine. I mean,
yeah,
it's the other side of the world. It's out in the middle of the desert. The shit's been going on for 100 years. It's not my problem, man. Like,
I hear what you're saying. And again, a lot of people have that same sentiment. Yeah, good old Trump and Carney. See, I said thank you, Mr. President.
This was Carney's reply. Thank you to President Trump for inviting me to the White House. Our meeting today marks the beginning of a new relationship between Canada and the United States based on respect, built on common interests, and to the transformational benefit of both of our nations.
Hey, that's presidential.
I don't know. It kind of comes over like a pushover to me.
That's how a grown adult speaks. That's how a president, prime minister is supposed to speak.
When he's like a bullshitter and his constituency doesn't care.
There's certain things you address publicly, and there's certain things you might address privately.
But he was talking a big talk on the campaign trail. Like,
I mean, that's a campaign trail. Yeah, I mean,
what was your thing? Elbows up.
Elbows up, man. Elbows up.
Was that in reference to like get your fists up? Is that what it was?
I guess so. Yeah, like, elbows up. Get ready to squabble if you need to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't seem like you squabble.
You got to squabble behind the scenes. You can't let them see that in front of the cameras. It's not very presidential. Trying to what's been. Oh, what do you think of the? I guess not. I mean, I think this is really polarized the country. The Shiloh situation, that lady with the baby. That's pretty wild. Not gonna lie, calling a baby a slur like that.
The N-word in the N-word in the playground.
Yeah, and look,
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, there's plenty of race digits, whatever. That happens every day. That probably happens every day, right? When there's some lady who does. A slur to an individual, but her being able to raise $700,000-$800,000 from it is crazy.
Well, it's coming on the heels of who's the
Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo Anthony.
Wait, but to me that comparison isn't fair, and I'll tell you why. So one, we have
it's not fair.
Hold on. No, listen, wait, hold on. I tell you, it's not. To me, it's an incredibly stupid comparison because one, we have a case where Carmelo Anthony and stabbed a student, attacks a student. That's what was set to happen. That's going to trial now to see what happened. He's claiming self-defense. We don't know the whole story. There isn't any video. We're gonna have to hear witnesses.
I thought there was a video.
No, there's no video.
Did the video come out?
No, there's no video. There's just witnesses.
Didn't it come out like a week ago?
No, I mean, if there's a video, but I haven't seen any video, nothing. So right now, it's just so to me, that situation, it's a he said, she said. There's going to be witnesses that say what happens. Let's put the pieces together and then make a judgment. Like, I'm someone who likes to wait till all the pieces come together and then see what happens.
So why would people be so quick to
but I'm saying, so
donate money to him before you know what the story is?
Yeah, so he's claiming. So for him, he's claiming, it was self-defense, any money for lawyers, blah, blah, blah. But I'm saying, so that situation is going to court. And we're going to figure out what happened.
I would personally feel crazy donating money to someone's court case when I didn't know what happened.
Sure, 100%. For sure, some of those people have their biases. Some people are believing him. Some people aren't believing him. That's from those biases. But with the Shiloh case, it's fully on camera. We know what happened. There's no two sides to it.
Well, actually, the event isn't on camera, right? It's all actually just recorded aftermath.
I thought the video showed her saying it. I'm not too sure.
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay, so we have. Well, she doesn't deny it. Like, she just openly said that.
No, she doesn't deny it.
Yeah, she doesn't deny it. So we have someone who's like, "Hey, yeah, I said it. This happened." And people are still donating to her. So it is two different situations. One is that he said, she said, that's going to court. We're going to figure out what happened. While this situation, we know what happened.
Well, I mean, to me, honestly, both scenarios just seem ridiculous to be donating money to,
I mean,
especially
that's
like
I got
large. The fact that
yeah,
both people are like making $1 million off
crazy,
this
crazy. Like I
situation.
said, racial
Like
tensions are still thriving in
really,
this country.
the new get rich quick scheme
Right?
is just to like
Call me a
do
slur,
some
pirate. Call me a slur.
do some horrendous
It's crazy.
racially motivated thing. But
Yeah, I do think that Carmelo Anthony it does have a little bit of the what do you call it, the remember the football player that killed the girl and got away with OJ Simpson. So with that, so within again, if you speak to members within the African American community, a lot of people were so sick and tired of, you could say, people getting away with or sorry, of white individuals getting away with hurting black men or black women at the time,
so not true.
right? No. I'm saying no. So people when
No,
OJ was
I
declared
agree.
innocent,
That was the
yeah,
perception.
that was the perception. When OJ
I
was
agree
declared
that's
innocent, they're like,
the
"Oh, we
perception.
got one for us." You know what I mean?
But how many
That's what it was.
decades are we gonna let just like unchecked narratives like rule the day?
Well, I think when the OJ situation happened, a lot of the unfairness in the judicial system was a lot more prominent a decade ago versus now. Even though I think there's problems now with the judicial system biases, when OJ did his crime, if you go back 10 years, you can see a lot more situations where the judicial system was biased, and people openly talk about that now. And there's so many cases that get reopened now, and they're proven innocent from that time.
It's what people focus on. Like jail. How many unarmed black men killed by police over the last 10 years or so do you think you could name off the top of your head?
Killed by police off the top of my head?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Well, you probably recognize.
Yeah.
Okay. How many unarmed white men killed by police over the last 10 years?
Couldn't tell you any.
Couldn't tell any, right?
No,
not one fucking name.
Look,
you couldn't come up with one name, even though there are more.
Mm-hmm.
There are more white men, unarmed men killed.
Do I think this last decade it's been more selective, or even the past decade or 15 years? Without a doubt, yeah, without a doubt. But during that time, hold up, Pirate, during the OJ's time, during the time that Ronnie King was beat up, during that time, we're not going to pretend like there was an extreme bias in the judicial system, whether it's sentencing for African Americans, whether it's them having ridiculously high conviction rates for smaller situations, whatever the case may be, or people just getting away. If you go back, if you go back prior 20 years from OJ's incident happened, what,
94?
94? Okay, so if you go back if you go back to the 70s, you're telling me there wasn't.
Well, once you get back in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when the OJ incident happened, a lot of people who grew up in that time, it's still kind of fresh. You know what I'm saying? So people now don't really understand what happened in the 60s and 70s in terms of unfairness of the judicial system. The judicial system today would seem like the greatest thing that they've ever seen compared to what was happening in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah, it's just it's a crazy mentality to me to live off of I'm just not into collectivism, and I'm not into like appropriating the suffering of I'm a 6'1" man, so like does everything that's affected 6'1" men in history do I get to like heap that onto my shoulders, or anything that happened to like my grandfather? If my grandfather got kicked off his land by the English, do I get to have animosity towards an Englishman when I when I come across him? I don't know. It's not very beneficial in my point of view.
Yeah, it's not beneficial.
It's just weird. But I think the social media is really like, I think that's just the way humans are built. No, it seems like all this stuff that like people have gravitated towards with the off topic, but how about we were talking about that, but it's crazy, man. The Knicks, I would never have guessed.
Yeah, I'm so shocked they came back. That looked like an easy win for the Celtics.
It's crazy. Now I'm still, because like that's tough when you lose your own first 2 games at home.
Yeah,
that means you're gonna have to win 4 out of the next 5 games, and only 2 of those games are gonna be at your home. That's extremely difficult.
Hostile
Where-
situations.
Where's the Knicks?
And the favorites, like they're the favorites.
The Knicks only have to win 2 out of 5 games, and they got
Yeah.
3 home games.
And guess the genius who
Yeah.
picked the Knicks to win? This guy actually picked the Knicks to go to the finals.
You picked the Knicks to win the series.
I picked the Knicks to go to the finals. In their
Wow.
show with Fluent, yeah. Every Sunday night, take a look. You know, we educate the people. I had the Knicks going to the finals. I had the Knicks facing the Lakers. So that didn't turn out well in the West, but you know.
Yeah, no, I didn't pick that. I thought it was going to be fucking Boston and Cleveland easy. So, hey, we got a guest here. BC, what's up?
Hello.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
how you doing?
How do you guys feel about I think you guys heard that Alberta doesn't want to be part of Canada or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to bring that
Yeah.
up. Did you see? I think I saw there's like a 15-minute speech by look like some
lady.
politician.
The
some
premier?
lady.
Yeah, that's their premier. Danielle.
Yeah.
Some people are calling like the greatest
It-
Canadian speech in
she's-
the last 50 years or something.
That's crazy.
Canadian, everyone's basically blaming Quebec and BC for the election or whatnot, and
Right.
they're now trying to say that Alberta is like the Lord and Savior of the country, like the only reason the country has a good reputation, and now they're trying to, I don't know, I think they're trying to make themselves like their own, the independent. I'm not sure what's going on, but I just
Yeah,
really
that's
wanna-
basically it. They want to separate from Canada, or it's actually it's not even close to a majority. So let's talk about numbers first, right?
Yeah,
three
yeah.
out of 10 Albertans say they want to leave Canada. You know, separate from Canada. Some want to be a part of America.
Pretty good chunk.
You know, but yeah, you know, 30%. But in a referendum,
30%,
you're going to lose,
yeah.
right? In a
Yeah.
referendum, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of this is very emotional based on the election. You know how that goes. When Joe Biden won, people in Texas were like, "It's time to leave." People in Florida were like,
Well,
"It's time to
Same
leave."
thing, yeah. And then when Trump wins,
so-
people in California.
Yeah, people kind of like, "It's time to leave," whatever, right? People
like
just
the
stop
rigged,
crying.
the rigged comments all over, like
Yeah.
literally.
See you know, it's just a bunch of emotional people who are upset about an election.
So
Sure,
is Alberta like
they're oil
really
country, oil
right,
country.
right?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, right. They're
right,
the-
right leaning.
They're the Texas of Canada.
They got
Nice.
most of like the supplies. I think they got like all the.
They have all the
mineral-
oil.
like,
They have a lot of
the
oil.
oil. I think they also have aluminum and all that stuff. I'm not sure. I'm not like.
Oh, so
Very-
they do just fine on their own.
No, wait, there's
Sounds like.
an idea. People in Alberta have this idea that they could be like Dubai by themselves. But
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
the oil in Alberta is not the same oil that's in Dubai or Saudi Arabia, right? There's levels to
Yeah.
this, like crude oil
Right.
versus oil that can be extracted easily. So people in Alberta think think they have Dubai oil, which again is absolutely nuts. Look, do they have fair criticism that sometimes the decisions made in Ontario doesn't necessarily reflect what may be best
Yeah.
for them? Without a doubt, but in a country so vast, we see that in America too. In states, so many different states, not every decision might be popular in every state.
Do
Right.
they want to become the 51st state? Do they want to
That the 3 out of the 10, or maybe 2 out of the 10 want a 51st state. I mean,
the Alberta?
Yeah,
See, now I might be down with
I'm
that.
already-
Maybe we could just pick up Alberta.
you wanna
I'm
do
already
that.
hearing. I'm already hearing California, Alberta trade offs, and like that's not that
Hey.
like.
Oh, I will totally trade you California for how many people are in Alberta?
I don't know.
Not a
I mean,
lot.
Probably won't give you Canada. I'll give you
California alone
Vermont.
has
We'll
much-
give you
Nah,
Vermont.
you know what? Give me California got a good has a good amount of natural.
How many does
resources, too.
California gotta have like at least like what 2-3 provinces combined?
They have good.
Oh
chunk of
yeah,
people.
I mean
yeah.
California's huge.
Yeah, they have.
What's
They
our
have
population? Like 50. I think our population is more than Canada.
is it
Yeah,
50
the
million?
entire.
Hey,
I think we got like 53 million or something.
Oh yeah, that's serious. That is very
Wow.
serious.
Canada has like
40.
40 something. Yeah.
Yeah,
As of like
close.
We can't give you California, even though, man, I sure would. How about we'll just give you the Bay Area and LA.
So yeah, the Alberta separatists are just mad, with the immigrants of the country. This is the country.
especially like the pipeline stuff. I remember.
Yeah, they feel like there's limitations to the pipeline stuff with the green agenda in some ways.
yeah.
I could see them having some reasonable criticisms of that being limited in terms of making money. You could definitely say that. I think that could change. But again, when you lose an election, okay, let's settle down. Let's get back to the table and let's try to work to improve the country. Not start crying and saying you want to leave. And guess what? There's also treaty land there, so it's not like you have the rights to all those countries because Native Indians, we still respect treaty agreements, and they've come out and said you can't do that. So hey, guess what? Everyone in Alberta, if you want to leave, leave. yippee-yi-yay down to Texas. Like,
Honestly, I
I
could understand. I mean, I feel like if I were a conservative Canadian up there after this last election, I'd probably be pretty frazzled, especially after thinking we finally got it. Because now we're talking, how long the liberals already been in power for, like 10 years now?
10 years. Yep.
It is a
Going on.
minority.
Now you're gonna tack on another 4 right when
No,
we
it
were
doesn't have
about
to be.
to.
It doesn't have to be 4 though. It could be technically. It could be 8 months.
Well, I was gonna ask you. So I mean, it seems like this government is gonna be pretty tenuous, right? Because the conservatives didn't the conservatives gain like 20 seats?
They did. So
is that right?
Yeah,
They did, but
So how many seats are the liberals going to be able to form a coalition with the
Yeah, so even with the NDP, who only have, I think, 6 seats or whatever, the Liberals only need, I think, 3 or 4. I think to get a majority.
But
right?
so they pretty much need like.
No, they have the Quebec Quad would work with them. The NDP are.
But then to actually do anything, like
the NDP
they need
votes
basically 100% votes.
They need
on,
all.
I mean,
all
are they
Liberals
going to be able to do anything? It
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
like-
Everyone, party lines all vote. This is not like America when you have fractions of parties like in the House.
No, that's what I saw.
like-
Yeah, MPs
yeah.
they're like 98%.
Yeah. No, they vote on the party lines for sure.
That's why I was talking about. It's a funny system because it's like you go in and you directly vote for a local representative.
Yeah,
and then that local representative goes off to the federal government and just
votes
along party lines.
Votes with like the 10 leaders of the party who technically probably decide all the bills that are up there and whatnot. But yeah, so think with this government though, even though technically it could only last 8 months or 10 months, whatever the case may be, it'll end up lasting a lot longer because the NDP was destroyed this election, right?
How many seats did they get? Like 5.
I think was it 6 or 7, maybe 5, something along those lines.
Right.
Look up Canada's seats, federal.
What's up with your with the old
But hold on, but this is the thing though. This is the thing though. NDP,
People's Party.
People's Party.
What's the one with Maxime?
They were embarrassed. I don't know. Did they get a seat?
They got nothing. They can't get anything, man.
Yeah,
they got seats. Probably like Quebec or whatever. But like, I don't think they got anything. I'm not sure.
Election results. Let me just see this. Yeah, I don't think they got.
You guys need a right wing party up there. You got.
The Liberals. Yeah, so NDP have 7. So the thing with NDP you have to realize now though is they got decimated this election, and they have to build back the brand. They have to build back funding, money, and all that. So they'll prop up the Liberal government for as long as they can, so they can rebuild.
Did they find a party leader yet? Because I know Jagmeet resigned, didn't he?
They're still in the process of figuring that out. Yeah, he resigned, so he's stepping down. But yeah, the Liberals got 169.
Well, he lost his seat too, right?
He lost his seat too. 2 leaders they lost their seat. Quebec Quad has 23. They hate the Conservatives. So they tend to vote Liberal.
What do they? I mean, they're just like
Quebec. They're just
Quebec. Yeah,
there's like
they want to separate from Canada. Quebec too. They've been trying to do that for like 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, right.
Quebec and Alberta, again, every once in a while you have the separatist movement pop up, but nothing ever really happens.
I gotta tell you, the number one thing that turns me off from following more Canadian politics is just every speech. It's like, God, in English and French, and English and French, and French. God damn, man, it takes you twice as long to listen to anything.
I'm not gonna lie, that does even. I think a lot of Canadians.
Do you speak French?
No.
You don't even speak French. That would annoy me.
Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10.
Oh, why do you guys kowtow to the French so much? Is it really? Isn't it? I thought it's like
a leader has to speak
20% of the
population, right? That's
isn't it just like 20% of the population though? It's not like
it's very small. I don't know.
It's not a majority of the population.
Imagine if America required every president that you have to speak English or Spanish. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I know exactly. I would be tuning out, man. And then, like, if that was a prerequisite to be the president, you have to speak Spanish. Like, what are we doing here?
I mean, I guess technically you don't, except for when they have the French debate. You would just have to maybe use an interpreter. I don't know. Like, I guess technically it's not like a rule, but like every leader.
But it's kind of like an unwritten.
Yeah,
rule,
it's like
right?
unwritten.
I mean, it seems like very much. I see political commentators like talking about, oh, this guy's French.
Yeah,
might not be good enough to.
I mean, look, if everyone in Quebec is just going to vote for the Quebec Quad, I don't see why a conservative.
Yeah,
or
right.
liberal
Just
leader
let
would
them
need to.
speak French. Why don't you
Yeah,
just let
100%.
them speak
Yeah,
French?
yeah.
They'll vote for their French people,
Yeah.
and the rest of it.
But yeah, so people in Alberta, hey,
Speak English.
if you want to leave, you can yippee yo down to Texas, Florida, wherever you want to go.
You're saying that, but when you lose, it sounds like Alberta's got.
Well, but no, this other thing. Even I mean, the referendum is literally like 95% not going to pass, right? So that's the thing. But let's say it does.
Is that all it would take? Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's not you need a referendum.
seems like you would have to go through a lot to secede from the nation.
100%. Yeah, it's a lot. That's what people don't understand. Even if you win the vote, the Canadian government and the crown doesn't have to. They're not just going to let you take a piece of land. No, you can leave. I don't know why they think you can just take Alberta with you. That's not a thing, right? That's not a thing. People have this idea that what do you call it? That Trump will come send the military over and just kind of be like, hey, we're going to take them now. And again, I think America has bigger problems to deal with than trying to take a province from Canada, especially by using military force. People into that. Look, we can send in the Canadian military, and again, the Native Indians have a right to their land. So I don't know why these Albertans think that they can.
What do you mean they have a right to their land?
Oh,
what land do the native
treaties? We have
Canadians
treaties.
have?
Basically, there's treaties saying that we're just that we're occupying your land and we're just using it. Like there's treaties. There's actual treaties that it's their land, especially in Alberta.
Oh yeah, I can imagine Canada doing. Jesus Christ, man!
That's a real thing.
You guys need to grow a pair up there. Man.
I mean, that's just a real thing. We like to respect the land that we you can say we won or conquered, whatever the case may be.
Well, you haven't conquered shit if you're like.
I mean, we're just friendly. We're just friendly. We just acknowledge what happened, unlike some clowns in America over there.
How many Native Canadians do you even have up there?
Not a lot, but I know they're allowed to build casinos and make a lot of money from that. They don't have to pay taxes.
They got the casinos up there too.
Yeah, they run the casino land, and they don't have to pay taxes.
I bet there's like 20,000 of them, and you're
very,
like, oh, we're on your land. Like it's 2020.
We're just respecting treaties, whatever the case may be, respecting deals and treaties that were made years ago. So yeah, the Alberta separatist movement is just it's just a fringe.
Yeah, all of these separatist secession.
Yeah.
None of them are gonna. I think it might happen at some point. Like I like to think a lot about America in like 100 years, 200 years. I think America might fracture in like 100 years or 200 years.
You really think so?
I think it might. Yeah, because I mean, it's honestly it's quite a large landmass. To the fact that we've been this unified for this long really is.
But we're a larger mass.
Huh?
We're a larger mass.
Yeah, you ain't got no people. I mean,
I guess a lot. 10 times those
were talking. Yeah,
9 times those people. Yeah,
we're talking about the new Rome, America, and yeah. I mean, I could see maybe in 100 years, 200 years, some crazy shit happen, especially the way it's going with being so polarized. Because it really is. One of these episodes, I want to watch one of these video clips of Thomas Sowell. I think we should watch a little sociology, and I think so much of this comes down to just like basic human intuition, and people really do think differently, like fundamentally differently, in ways that are like really hard to really mesh on a political stage, I mean, like a lot of these differences between the left and the right in America today, they kind of are irreconcilable because it's just two completely different ways of like looking at the world, two different ways of coming to solutions for things, and we're just not going to agree.
There is a drastic difference in some beliefs that I don't think any middle ground to be found in some of the issues.
Isn't our native buyout like 23 million? What does that mean? What's he saying?
I don't even know. Hey, is there a buyout? I have no clue if there's a buyout for
buy those mother. If it's 23 million,
it's definitely not that low.
Yeah.
That'd be way too small. I don't really think
you got to do that. Yes,
I don't think there's a buyout. There's just different treaties, different agreements in place. Complicated that lawyers would have to look at, right? And it's just. It's a lot. It's not simply, obviously, just a referendum. Hey, once the referendum passes, you can leave, and all the pipelines aren't even Alberta's. Like how you separate what's Canada's, what's Alberta's in terms of some of the infrastructure that's there too, right? So,
well, I suppose just like up to the border,
Hey, just send the military in and just stop everything,
I thought this clip was really this is like kind of along the lines of Doge. Some Doge, some waste and expense type stuff. Listen to this. This was pretty crazy when I first heard it.
For the committee today, what an improper payment is, and some examples of what you're seeing, and why these procedures were not already in place before, Mr. Secretary.
Well, it's a bit mystifying why they weren't in place. And what we are seeing is that there was a very complacent upper level of management in many departments across the entire government. And what I can say at Treasury, that of the 1.5 billion payments we send out every year, they're required to have something called a TAS, a Treasury account symbol. We discovered that more than one third of those payments did not have a TAS number. So as the Appropriations Committee, you should be shocked by that, because how can a payment be tracked back to an appropriation? Only through the TAS number. So there was no accountability. So that is why the 450 organizations that sit above Treasury, where Treasury acts as the paymaster, are unable to pass an audit. So we have cracked down on that. Every payment now requires a TAS number. Very simple. And I will tell you that the mid-level employees who I have had come into Treasury to talk to me about that feel liberated. That they tell me, I've been here 20 years. I've always wanted to do this. I've been here 14 years. And they feel as though they now have agency and are making a difference towards saving the American taxpayer money.
That's kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah,
a third of the payments out of the Treasury don't have. Basically, it's like they're writing checks. They don't put any notes on what the fucking payment is. Too.
I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories about missing money in American budgets, whether it be from the Pentagon, from the government. Some people I've heard, the very wealthy are building underground cities. And they
the 21 21 billion we've spent. 21
I think trillion, was it? Yeah, or whatever.
Oh yeah, 21 trillion. 21 trillion on underground bunker. Wouldn't that be crazy if that's actually the
100%? I'm just like, wait, so you tell me, if there's an entire city, how many workers did it take? And then they'll say, oh, they brought in people from Russia or Cambodia or whatever country, and they just sent them all back. It's
or maybe they just buried them down there.
Yeah,
put them in the mortar.
I mean, look, do I think there's a lot of money that goes untraced within government spending, especially in America? Yes. Do I think a lot of people end up pocketing that money, or those money goes into Swiss?
Well, the people pocketing, I think, is even the bigger issue than not trade. Just the layers and layers of money that has. Like, if you look at a lot of that USAID stuff, it's like so many layers of, this administrator, that administrator, that the money gets funneled down to. And that's pretty much what you end up spending like most all the money on.
Yeah, I know, 100%.
So public services can be such a scam, and even like so many of these nonprofit organizations are really just slush funds for the people who work there. It's like we're nonprofit, but we all take a salary.
That's true too. To me, the whole nonprofit thing. Look, I think nonprofits can be great, can do a lot of good, but you don't be working in a nonprofit and driving a $100,000 car. That's not a thing. Don't be working in a nonprofit and owning a $2-3 million home. It's just ridiculous. You know what you're doing at that point.
Right. When I hear nonprofit, it's like, okay, it sounds like that should be run off basically like volunteer labor. Right? It's like,
that, or just
if you combine like volunteer labor with nonprofit, all right, now maybe you got something that could be like having a net positive for society.
Yeah, if you're nonprofit, I think you have to work for basically minimum salary, or just.
But they never do.
The money.
The nonprofits always move into like a super expensive city like San Francisco.
Yeah, remember the $80 million I went to Black Lives Matter. Now a lot of houses and a lot of houses. That's just par for the course.
That's the basic pattern for all these nonprofits. It's like we're gonna help junkies on the streets. So the first thing we do is we got to hire 10 people and pay them $90,000.
I do think sadly a lot of the cancer research. Or the cancer funds that were raised, I think, were pocketed. Just looking at some of the
all of it, it all gets pocketed.
But the cancer was a big one for a while. It was a big one where like every
Well, this is
every
the basic
every-
disconnect that a lot of people who are like more liberals and they want to help society and stuff. They just think, okay, we'll spend money on things that we want to help, right? And so in your
Mhm.
brain, you just transfer, okay, $5 billion equals $5 billion of goodness. But
Yeah.
money is just money is just a conduit for things to happen, right? Like money doesn't actually do any. Like you could throw $5 billion in cash at a kid with cancer and it's just
I
gonna
hear
bounce
you.
off them, right? Like $5 billion doesn't just cure cancer. So it's like if you're spending $5 billion, well, what are you spending it on? You're spending it on, you're giving $200,000 to this guy, $200,000 to that guy, 200, you're giving $1 million to lease out this building to do your research in, so that's money is just goods and services transferred between people, that it doesn't automatically equate to, people all of a sudden have things, or you've cured things.
I hear you. When again, I think where people have the right intention when donating to these things and have their heart in the right place, but just sometimes greed can take over and just kind of makes a lot of these charities and our funds to help people ends up being a get rich quick account for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, all the time, and it's I think that's one of the biggest differences between the left and the right. I think people on the right just have a general view of like, hey man, like I don't know, check before. Money doesn't just solve things. You can't just say we spent $10 billion on this, and and it's actually.
Like you said, like the neocon right are quick to spend money on wars or sending aid to allies. You know what I mean? So I guess people have, which again, that could be pocketed too. If you think about the money that's being sent to some countries, to easily be pocketed too by the leaders within the country. I mean, it's crazy. Even like the whole the Afghanistan thing, the amount of stuff that I was reading about a lot of members of the government of Afghanistan when the U.S. was there, the people that they put into power, a lot of them now live in, again, these other countries in like $10 million homes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, have $1 million paintings, cars, and all. They're living lavish because all the money that was supposed to go to the Afghanistan people in the country to rebuild was pocketed, put into bank accounts.
What did we get out of 20 years in Afghanistan?
Literally.
Like other than we left like $100 billion in military supplies over there. I mean, like what did we actually get? And it's like you can't just impose a Western democracy on fucking the middle of Afghanistan out in the desert. It's a completely different world. That's why I'm glad, like you were saying, it seems like the war hawks are kind of
shifting,
and that's good, because I thought that like the neocon mentality, that's like not truly a conservative philosophy. You could say it's like a masculine philosophy, right?
I mean,
guess you could say that it's like rah.
I mean, there's a saying that
fight, but
the neocon conservative is the only truly non-elected or non-appointed president in Dick Cheney. A lot of people said Dick Cheney was the president, right, for the amount of power he was having.
Yeah, Dick Cheney was. I mean, I think he was definitely the most powerful vice president of
ever. I've never seen a vice president have that much power.
Yeah, I mean, I would really have to go back into at least into like the 19th century to even think of anyone who would come close. Yeah,
100%. I'm surprised he never ran.
Well, no one's going to vote for him.
Yeah, he got way too popular. Yeah.
That's why it was ridiculous when Kamala was trying to get the Cheneys to campaign for her.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you realize how hated Cheneys were? Yeah.
She was like, "Hey, I'm bridging the left and the right. The Cheneys are for me." It's like the Cheneys are the least popular name. Nobody on the left or the right likes the Cheneys. They have like a 8% approval rating.
100%.
Here's a little clip from Oakland. You're gonna have a new segment each week. This is welcome to Oakland. I live in Oakland, so all this stuff is kind of close to me. Yeah, it's another shooting. This was a guy opened up a kind of high-end restaurant, and shots fired.
Thank you, Oakland. I appreciate this shit. All the fucking hard work, 20 years of fucking working. This is what y'all gave me. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Shit is just great, man. Worked so fucking hard to build this shit. So many fucking late nights, early mornings for this. For this punk ass shit right here. Coward ass, bitch ass shit right here. Thank you. Thank you so fucking much, Oakland. I appreciate that shit,
I'm gonna
bro.
get flagged. A lot of swearing going on that.
All you niggas with this punk ass, phony ass, dumb ass beef shit y'all got going on, man. I appreciate y'all, bro. Y'all brought that.
Yeah, it's tough. You know?
It's sad, man. This town is.
It is sad. It's
and then we just, remember last episode I showed you who we just voted in for the next mayor, Miss $50 an hour minimum wage. She thinks $50 an hour minimum wage will fix the economy.
Yeah, that's one of the dumber takes I've heard, without a doubt. Shoot, you make Pierre look intelligent. I'm not gonna hold that $50 an hour thing's a little crazy.
You said you liked Pierre.
I mean, I don't hate the guy. I think it's fine, but I think he was. I thought he ran one of the worst campaigns he could have. I thought that this election was gifted a silver platter to him. Like, there's no way you should have lose this election the way the country was going. And again, he focused too much on Trudeau instead of the policies until late. Right? He could have easily won this election if he focused on, again, policies. And really, I think, how can I say this? Pierre, I thought was never, he was very like John McCain. You know, like when anyone would say something crazy, he would kind of set them back, be like, hey, we just have disagreements type of deal. A lot of Pierre supporters went over very right, where, when people have political discussions, it's just like, oh, you're stupid, you're the R word, you're this and that for thinking this way or voting this way, whatever the case may be. Like, a lot of people on you could say the Alberta separatist right, people of that, of that kind.
So what, he wasn't polite enough for Canadian politics?
No, he was fine, but he paid the price for what a lot of these right-wing influencers did. And I think that's a big one too. I think the rise of that type of right-wing influence, especially because there's a bunch of them on TikTok. Mario's a big one. He's like very hated by the left, loved by the right, but he's a very kind of polarizing guy. If you see Mario for the North, he's probably the biggest social media, one of the bigger social media guys within Canada. Just kind of constantly bashing, whether it be the amount of Indians that were in Canada, whatever the Liberal Party did, but he took a very radical stance. And I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Because like I said before, the Ted Cruz style of conservative gets laughed at in Canada for the most part, right? It's the
Ted Cruz style.
Like, Ted Cruz is very, very right wing.
You think so? Well, yeah, that's the difference between Canada.
Ted Cruz is Ted Cruz is.
I look at Ted Cruz as a pretty fucking down the middle.
Oh, that's crazy. Ted Cruz is. We have to make a joke. Ted Cruz has never won in Canada. He's way too, Bible in one hand, gun in the other type of conservative.
Yeah, man, we are a Christian nation.
Yeah, separation of church and state, baby. Separation of church and state. But yeah, so that type of conservative and just some of the. So there's a difference between running an election on trying to make the country better for quote unquote hope and change like Obama, versus really vilifying what it is now, vilifying people and attacking people based on their beliefs and trying to win votes that way. You see what I'm saying? And I think a lot of the
doesn't it just come down to perspective? Because it's like I feel like most people you tend to overlook your side vilifying the other side.
So you know what it is? There wasn't a big presence of left-wing individual like TikTok. Most of Canadian like TikTok, YouTube, political commentary stuff is more right-leaning because they feel the need to have more right because they think CBC is very left-wing biased. Like the main media is left-wing biased, which is fair criticism, right? You said left-wing bias, right? But let's say with that left-wing bias, when you're on media, it's you could say they could say they unfairly attack the policies of the right, or they might manipulate the numbers, but it's never this kind of hate that was at the level of the right wing influence on TikTok and YouTube. They don't play by the same rules.
Well, I don't
They
know
know
about
more than
Canadian.
that.
I don't know as much about Canadian media, but I mean, I want to say, like, when you're insinuating that the other side are, fascists and Nazis, isn't that
Not fascists and Nazis. It's very
well, that's the way it is down in America.
Oh, okay,
like
yeah.
in the American media,
Yeah, it wasn't that. Yeah.
So it's hard to say you're like preaching like
It's like this. It's like this. So how you address let's say immigration issues, right? We have one way to address it, immigration. We let in too many immigrants at once. Our economy can't sustain this. We just don't have the jobs and infrastructure to sustain this. So we have to start mass deportation, or we have to limit the amount of people coming in. Right?
Yeah.
Fairly straightforward. Boom.
Yeah.
The other way to attack problem immigration, like what the right, a lot of these TikTokers, YouTubers want to say is, oh, look at all these stinky Indians coming here, taking our jobs, attacking our women. There's a lot more vitriol and hatred for that. And again, in that could rub, and that again could hype some people up, could definitely empower some people, but to a lot of Canadians, especially people who I know who are very like center right, center left, rub them the wrong way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And like I was saying to start the show, that I really hate going down the whole, rapist murderers. We got to deport all the immigrants because they're all criminals, and that's not the reason. We need to deport the immigrants because you can't be shifting your population that
100%.
much by importing all these adults from outside of your nation. It's going to throw off your whole economy.
Why do you think Obama got away with deporting so many people without the flag?
Because he had the media behind him.
You can say the media
if Obama was a Republican doing exactly what he did, it would be the exact same thing.
I think
the exact same thing.
No, I think this applies to everything in life. When you're well liked, you can get away with more. Right?
But the only reason he was well liked by the mainstream media is in lockstep with the Democratic Party. They have been for the last.
People keep saying that Fox News is mainstream.
20
They're the
years.
most watched news network in America. Fox News is mainstream.
Fox is the one, but then
they're the mainstream network.
I think Fox is mainstream, but all of the actual mainstream media, they call Fox like alternative media, infotainment. Like
I consider the mainstream media.
CNN, ABC, NBC, they don't look at Fox News as mainstream media. Democrats walking the street in America, they don't look at Fox News as mainstream media. They look at
maybe it's just me. I think
political propaganda.
When you're the number one rated, I mean, look, dude, I think they have an opinion.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think technically it's mainstream media.
Yeah, I was like, when you're the highest,
but it's the only one.
Yeah,
that's the reason why it has all the numbers that it has.
Yeah, because they're not sharing viewers amongst other.
They're not sharing. Meanwhile, they're going up against 12 different networks that are all in the bag for the Democrats.
I hear it. But you know what? How was Bush treated when he ran? This polarization in the media, did it always exist? I was young when Bush ran, so I can't really. It's kind of hard to go back, but I don't see people talking about media polarization.
He was still vilified, but not to the same extent. At least in his first term. Like I'm saying, there's a big team. They really soured on Bush in the second term with the whole.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone did, whether you're right or left. Yeah.
And then I think it like with the what was Michael Moore's documentary. What was the documentary Michael Moore did around then?
I don't know. Too Big to Fail? No, that was after 2008.
No. But yeah, I mean Bush. They were the big angle on Bush from the left back then was like the nepotism. He's not that smart. He's not even in charge. Dick Cheney's in charge.
Gotcha.
He doesn't care. He's just kind of they painted him as like an aloof nepotism figurehead. Who's just like
once the second term happened, I just think it's like, okay, the economy was wrecked. the never-ending war. Like it was
Housing
a lot of
crisis.
it was a lot of policy hate for him. I think again, I've never seen someone take so much flack for a tan suit like Obama did. You would think Obama started the next World War the way that tan suit I saw on Fox News.
You always bring up the tan suit.
I don't get what the tan suit is so problematic to.
I don't think it was that problematic. I don't think very many. It's not like that's what he's remembered for. Dude, Obama was like bulletproof, man. Like the media covered his ass so
when you're
so
eloquently
much.
well spoken. You know,
He he wasn't. Again, we're gonna have to do the Reagan versus Obama.
Yeah, I want to try to go look back how Reagan. Yeah, I've been watching more about. Yeah, Obama's clearing Reagan. We'll do it. Let's actually do it next week.
Obama was so full of hot air. Obama just has he has a really good voice and
the tone.
Cadence.
Yeah.
No, it's like the tone and the voice. It sounds like an ASMR. Like he'd be a really good book narrator for audiobook, right?
I don't know if you can find a Reagan speech better than the 2004 speech at the Democrat convention or the 2008 winning speech.
A time for choosing will blow.
Man, 2008 had everyone in tears. 2008 had, you see the crowd there? Come on now. You talk about.
I know, but I've re-listened to it. It's a bunch of hot air and bluster.
Hey,
A Time for Choosing was 30 minutes long, and they're at least 3 or 4.
I mean, to me, a great speech though is obviously what's in the speech in terms of substance for sure, but it's also the way it captures the emotions of the people.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Dude,
once again, the situation and the magnitude's a little different. Like Reagan was over here fucking the Cold War, the future of the universe on the line. The tones in his speech were
what was needed at the time was a little different.
Like a Greek tragedy, and he was like mustering up the will of the entire nation to actually be great in a great monumental moment. And Obama just didn't have that. Like,
hold on, in 2008 when he won, he talked about rising to the challenge, bringing our country back.
Yeah, but it's not the same. He wasn't going against the evil empire. Dude.
Sure, yeah, it was more the economy building it up, but it's also years. It was also the years of slavery, the the unfair treatment of African Americans for so long.
Oh, come on!
Hold on! No,
come on! It's 2008.
Hold on! No.
If you want to talk about it,
in that crowd,
I'll go back to Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass had some great speeches on slavery.
There's people in that crowd.
And even Martin Luther King.
All right, we can go to that. There's people in that crowd who had to go to segregated schools, who couldn't sit at the front of the bus, who had to sit at
in 2008.
There's people in that crowd.
How many people?
Up with that?
How many people in 2008?
A bunch.
And were they worried about it happening in 2009?
No, but to see a black man reach the pinnacle, that clears anything Reagan
that
did.
doesn't have that clears Reagan, who comes in. Reagan literally comes into a world. Reagan literally comes into a world where half of the map of the world is behind the Iron Curtain of communism. Like kids don't even understand what the fucking world was like back then. It was a completely different world. Half the world was it was really fucking communist. Kids today just take it for
killing innocent black men. That's true. Y'all were killing innocent people back in the day. The judicial system when Reagan was in office, your judicial system was cooked. It was cooked.
I hate to break it to you. There were a lot of innocent people getting killed by black men on the streets in the 80s. All right,
you can say that
if we're gonna be real about it. But
kids
don't understand the makeup of the world, dude. In 1980, half the world was communist. Kids today just take it for granted that the world is this it's just democracy and free trade. And we look at China is an outlier, and authoritarian. What we call authoritarianism today in 2025. You go back to 1980 and you look at the world map. That's authoritarianism.
We'll
Look
look at the
all
speech.
over the fucking world.
Well, we'll look at the speeches next week. Maybe we'll put a poll up, bring some people up.
Yeah, we'll have
have
to.
a little vote on it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get a poll.
I got to get out in here about like 10
Guys.
minutes, 5 minutes. I
Yeah.
don't know if we have any. Who's this?
Well, we were talking about immigration here. Here's a little clip in Brussels, Belgium. Saw a stat. It said over 80%
That's
of
crazy.
Brussels population under the age of 20
That's
is
crazy.
of foreign origin.
$88.
So you get the gist. I mean, we see videos of these like from all over. And yeah,
88%.
This clip said 88, and when I first saw that, I was like, "That's astounding. That can't be true." So then I looked up another person said 83%. I saw another one was like 84%. So
What's
I
their
don't know if it's
demographics
quite
in the country?
88. What?
What's their demographics in the country? Like demographics in Belgium? Who are these immigrants that made it that much?
I mean, it seems like most all the European nations, it's generally Middle Easterners and North Africans, right? It seems to be
the North Africans I see, because every time, like in their soccer teams, they always have a few Africans of people of African descent on the teams. And it's like, okay, even like in France too. The teams. I'm sorry, like France's soccer team was like 80% African descent at a point. But yeah, I mean, I think that number is too high. I mean, I think that's wild.
Yeah, too high, like it's not true, or too hih like that's crazy.
I mean, let me see nationality. Belgium. I'm looking major ethnic Flemish, Walton. So 43% are Flemish.
That's white.
Who speak? That's white. Okay, and then 28% is Walloon.
I don't know what that is.
That 80%. It's. I wonder.
Well, it says of people under 20.
20, yeah. So I mean, that could just
like
mean that
the young people.
Look, if you have a lot of people, let's say from Northern Africa or even Muslim countries, are just having a lot more kids, which I do think tend to stand. I do think Muslim-oriented faiths tend to have more kids.
More. I mean, they're coming into the country. It's not like
so they're coming into the country.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's.
Yeah,
not
I mean, look, if you have that much, if your country becomes 80% of immigrants, I think that's a problem. That's a problem.
I think it's a problem too. It seems like this is going to be. I don't know. It seems like the immigration thing is like really it's like the biggest issue, not just for America, and it sounds like Canada too, but like the whole industrialized world. And it's like how we're at one point, it's like you want to be like peace and love to all, right?
Like, yeah, you want everyone. You wish the best for everyone. Yeah, of course.
In general, but then at the same time, you have to be pragmatic about some of this stuff, right? Otherwise, it's like you can't just. There's a reason why you don't just go out and invite like the 20 homeless people at 7-Eleven into your apartment, right? It's like it's not because you're not compassionate. It's just because that's not a very pragmatic thing.
It's not a very realistic thing to do either. I think again, I've always said this too in terms of immigration. If you want to kind of stop the mass immigration thing, I think we also have to focus on trying to make other countries good, so they don't want to leave.
That's what we've been doing for the last 40 years. It's obviously not working. Because it seems like it goes hand in hand, where it creates this mentality that a lot of people within each individual country adopt, where it's like, oh, it's all of the world's problems are our fault, so we have to go into all of these countries, fix all their problems, and then we also have to accept however many people coming out of these countries who want to come into our country. It's like it's this like.
I don't know if it's about solving other problems.
Guilt. It's the guilt thing. That
I think at this point you see what's happening. That might be the most effective option to stop mass immigration.
Which is what?
is try to make let's say Mexico, for example. You try to make Mexico a place that people don't want to leave, where they have jobs, where they have opportunities.
Isn't that Mexico's job?
Sure, 100%, it's their primary job. But because you have this issue of mass immigration, and yes, and you're trying to stop that issue, and as much as I think border security and all that can be there, people figure out a way to go around the system or break the system.
And to be fair, it's
the long-term fix, I think, is more so is to fix the great country. Like when you have like with Canada and America, right? For the most part, there's not some huge for this long. There hasn't been a huge immigration wave of people going across the border. That's right, because they're both first world countries with good economies, good opportunity, things of that nature. So when you're neighbors with countries who have that, you're not going to face this. You're not going to face that crisis, right? So, and I said, we just simply got the luck of the draw that Canada didn't face the immigration crisis because Mexico wasn't on our border. It could have easily been on our border instead of America.
Up at the top of the globe.
It's right.
It's hard to get to Canada.
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, but it could have. Let's just say for like a switch and Mexico was below us, right? You guys, you're
right. Imagine if it was America, Canada, Mexico.
Yeah, we would.
Man, that would be great.
It would be a very different. Yeah, and I think a lot of sentiments of immigration would be different within the country because what we would have faced versus what America would have faced would have been very different, right? So,
but there's that, but then at the same time, like, can't we just build a wall? Can't we just build a wall and fucking be like, hey man,
hey, if you think that'll fix it, I hear
the wall. Sorry, you can't come in. Case closed.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, all right. That's been a good one.
Yeah. All righty. No, that was a good one. All right. Good luck with your prime minister up there.
Hey, we got a lot of prosperous times ahead. We make the right intelligent decisions over here in Canada.
Hopefully we can see Carney and Trump in like an MMA fight or something.
Carney's definitely a smaller guy, but I think Trump's a little out of shape, so I don't know who'd win that one.
I just find him so uninspiring, but it seems like it's pretty much going to be the same thing as Trudeau. Although even like Trudeau, I hated Trudeau, but he was kind of entertaining with him and Pierre when they'd get into it in the Parliament. Those are some kind of entertaining clips.
I mean, look, I've always said when politics are boring, a snooze fest, your country's probably in a good spot. Politics is not supposed to be exciting. It's not supposed to be a battle. It's not supposed. If it's boring, usually politics is boring. Your country's thriving. There's no issues. There's no big, situations happening. You're prospering. Everyone's doing well.
Nah, then you're getting screwed over if that's the case. Because the status quo for government is to screw you over. So if everyone's just quiet about it, I'd rather see some fireworks and see some change.
Yeah, it's good for entertainment.
I want to live through Julius Caesar and Napoleon and.
I mean, look at. I think a lot of people could say Dubai's. Would that be considered a great country right now? People are moving there, prosperous.
A great country? I don't know if
I don't know if I say, but I'm gonna say you don't really hear about any like political.
Yeah, that's now though. But again,
what about Luxembourg? Like they're a rich country.
Luxembourg,
yeah, you don't really hear about their leaders going at it back and forth, yelling at each other in their White House or their house, whatever.
Well, because Luxembourg is basically just like 800 bankers.
I mean, hey, Monaco. Monaco has just a lot of rich people there living. I don't never see any political, conflicts in Monaco.
No, it's good to be them. Those those little jewel box countries where it's like they're. But the America, we got a lot on our plate.
Yeah, for sure.
Issues to solve. But all right, man. Good episode. We'll see you.
Yes,
thanks everybody for tuning in. Check us out again Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. All the news that's fit for the day. Good to see you, Jalen. And
you too, Pat.
we are out. Have a good night.